Hello everyone and welcome to this week's edition of the Press Pass. I'm Colin Perry.
And I'm Drew Favka. We've got a great show lineup for you today, including a look at the Butler women's soccer team win over Providence in the Big East Tournament semifinals, and an interview with Butler women's basketball coach Kurt Godlewski.
We'll start with the women's soccer team, who's coming off a 1-0 loss to Georgetown yesterday in the Big East Championship. The team will learn this afternoon whether or not they'll receive an at-large bid for the NCAA tournament. Press Pass reporter Chelsea Groves is live at Hinkle Fieldhouse with co-head coach Rob Allman. Chelsea?
Thanks, guys. Coach, you fell to Georgetown in the Big East Championship game yesterday, but as postseason time, Selection Monday is in about 2 or 3 hours. How are you feeling right now?
Yeah, I think it's always an exciting time for everyone involved in the program. The fact that we put ourselves in this position once again, following on from last year to be in the mix and have a shot at extending our season, I think is always an exciting thing. At the same time, you're always a little bit nervous in terms of not knowing exactly how the committee is going to view things as we go forward. So just have to patiently wait for a few more hours.
And what stands out to you the most about this year's team heading into the postseason?
I think really just grown a lot as a team throughout the year. Quite a lot of young players that were expected to contribute right away, and that have done that. And that coupled with some great senior leadership. I think this year's team had a lot of firepower going forward. We tried to utilise that as much as we possibly could. Taking on an incredibly difficult schedule, playing a lot of top teams on the road. You look at where the losses have come from. We've got 3 losses to teams who are in the top 5 in the LPI that are legitimately going to be 1 seeds, possibly 1 seeds, definitely 2 seeds in the tournament here. Coming up, played the 19 and 22 in the LPI as well. Picked up, I think, 4 wins and a tie against top 80 teams in the LPI. So we put a really challenging schedule in front of ourselves, and then just gone out and attacked all those teams, played as freely and as aggressively as we possibly could, not back down from anyone. And that was a big emphasis for us this year, just put in what we want to do onto other teams and force them to deal with those. I think we grew a lot this year.
Well, best of luck, Coach. Guys?
All right, Chelsea, thank you very much.
And while the team is waiting to see what its future will hold, let's go ahead and take a quick look back at how the team reached the Big East Championship. Press Pass reporter Olivia Frashop takes a look at how the Bulldogs came away with a 3-2 win over Providence in the Big East semifinals.
It was a rainy night in the Selleck Bowl as the Bulldogs took on the Providence Friars in the Big East semifinal match. Butler opened the scoring during the first half as Paige Monahan's cross found the head of Haley Stobaski for her first of the night. The Bulldogs' second goal came later in the first half as a similar play took shape, except with the center back Annika Schmidt finding the back of the net. The first half ended with the Bulldogs up 2-0, but Providence was still pushing hard. The Friars forward Camille Murphy received a pass and was able to sneak one past the Butler's keeper Leona Duga to make the score 2-1. The Bulldogs regained a 2-goal lead as Hallie Stobaski scored her second goal of the night and 8th on the season off a cross from freshman Katie Soderstrom. The Friars continued their push as the second half was coming to an end. With 2 minutes left to play, Providence cut the lead to 1 when Amber Birchwell blasted in a rebound off Duga. The Bulldogs held the lead and won 3-2. Reporting for the Press Pass, I'm Olivia Frashop.
What an exciting game. But Colin, let's take a closer look at Butler's 3 goals in the contest.
Well, the thing that stood out to me was that all of Butler's goals looked like the exact same play. They were all crosses in the box. Butler's first goal was thanks to Paige Monahan, a beautiful ball. Again, she drags the attention and opens up space in the back corner for Hallie Stobaski to head this ball in. Again, she gets 2 defenders on the outside. The box is kind of spread with 2 players in each corner and Stobaski right place at the right time. This time, Providence packs the box even more, but still allows Kowalski then to send in a beautiful shot from the corner right to Annika Schmidt. Slow-mo it again. The box is packed tight, almost too tight, as that allows Annika to be aggressive, get in the middle of it, and get a shot on goal with their head, give the Dogs a 2-0 lead at the time. The final goal for the Dogs came from Katie Soderstrom with a breakaway opportunity, and very smartly, the senior Hallie Stobaski scores her second goal again. Breakaway opportunity Providence catches itself backpedaling a bit, and that time the senior didn't miss as Hallie Stelbaski puts it away, goes on to give the Dogs a 3-2 win. Now it's time for Dog Talk. I have Drew Favica and Olivia Frajat to discuss everything happening in Butler sports. After 2 exhibition wins, men's basketball is preparing for their first regular season game against Miami, Ohio on Saturday. The team was ranked 6th in the Big East coaches poll. The Bulldogs seem to enjoy that underdog role every year. How do you think that mentality helps them this season? Drew?
Well, I do think it'll be a struggle for the Bulldogs as long as they lack that third legitimate scoring threat. In the win against Southern Indiana, the offense flowed through Kamar Baldwin and Paul Jorgensen. However, those 2 players combined for 40% of Butler's scoring. They're going to need more scoring elsewhere. The third option will have to step up, and if Jorgensen goes cold like last season, I don't know where that scoring is going to come from.
Right, very good point. Olivia?
I really do think we are going to be the underdog this year. We lost Tyler Weidman, so we're really kind of short on the size. Also, our shooting really has to improve if we're going to make any kind of contributions in the Big East. With only 49% from the field goal and only 28% from the three. I mean, this is supposed to be a shooting team, and our shooters aren't really producing as much. Also, I'm more worried about our free throws. We're 22 for 31 on the free throw line. Since we are that smaller team, we're going to really have to make all of our free throws to really win games and make an impact.
I guess we'll find out Saturday. The men's basketball team has made the NCAA tournament the past 4 seasons. However, the women's basketball team has lost substantial leadership in Sydney Buck and Iman Lathan. How do you go about replacing 2 key players in that system? Drew?
That's a great question, Colin. It's going to be hard to replace leadership, as it always is for any team. Let's be honest, it's not going to be easy to replace. Whitney Jennings is a senior guard. She was a high-volume scorer last year. Maybe she'll need to distribute the ball more with the 3 transfers coming in that can all score themselves. Kristen Spoliar wants to be more vocal. And then also Tori Schickel wants to be a leader by example. So leadership comes in different forms, but it's going to need to be there.
Right, Olivia?
So obviously those 3 are going to make huge improvements to the team. But for me, it's going to be how the transfers Ashanti Thomas and Catherine Strong are going to fit into the Butler way. So with those 3, there's that 2 kind of roles that need to be filled, and I really think those 2 transfers are going to be the answer. Also, the whole team as a whole is going to have to be more aggressive. So really just trying things they've never done before, be aggressive on the defensive end, on the offensive end. And I think this year they're really going to start to connect more than they have in the past.
I'm really excited for Whitney Jennings, the pride of Logansport, the Logansport Berries. From the collegiate ranks to the professional ranks, the success of the Indiana Pacers have been the talk of Naptown. Through 10 games, the Pacers are 7-3 and 3rd in the Eastern Conference. They had an amazing win Saturday night over Brad Stevens' Celtics. How can the Pacers continue their success? Drew, you're an avid NBA fan. What do you think?
Well, yes, I do love the NBA as it is the best sport available. Anyway, despite the quick success, the bench has had some problems. Guard Tyrek Evans, who was signed to a 1-year, $9 million contract, hasn't really lived up to the hype because Nate McMillan isn't playing him enough. He's only getting 20 minutes a game. That's 8th on the team. He's a solid perimeter scorer, 44% three-point shooter, and can defend up to 3 positions. Why don't you play him?
Right. Olivia?
See, I'm actually the opposite. For me, it really is about that bench. They have Domantas Sabonis, Tyreek Evans, and Corey Joseph that are just really kind of stepping up more into roles and making the team success. And actually, Sabonis is my favorite NBA player in the whole NBA. And against the Knicks, he went for 12 from 12 for shooting. I mean, what coach wouldn't want that coming off of their bench? He pretty much averages a double-double. There's nothing more you could ask for. And I think if the Pacers really do kind of continue that bench success, they're really going to go deep into the East and even give teams like the Celtics a run for their money, like they did on Saturday.
Right, for sure. It should be an interesting NBA season. Drew, Olivia, thanks for your insight.
Shifting gears, our interview this week is with Butler women's basketball coach Kurt Godlewski. Godlewski enters his 5th season as head coach of the Bulldogs. During his time at Butler, he has compiled a 45-79 record with a 22-50 mark in Big East play. In his first season, Godlewski set the school record for most wins by a first-year head coach with 14. Despite a few down seasons, Godlewski has helped the Bulldogs to a win in the Big East tournament each of the last 3 seasons. Press Pass reporter Jacob Markeski is with Coach Godlewski. Jacob?
Good afternoon, Coach. Thank you so much for joining the show.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. This upcoming season seems to be kind of a crucial turning point for you guys. You went from just 2 conference wins a couple of years ago to 6 last season. What's going to be the key for your team to get on the right side of 500 this year?
Well, we have to have great production from our seniors, Whitney Jennings, Tori Schickel, Michelle Weaver, Taylor Buford. It's the first time since I've been here where we've had a large number of upperclassmen, so they know what it takes to win. And last year was kind of a taste of that success, and they're very hungry, had a great spring and summer. And for us to have any type of success, they've got to do it, and they've got to lead us in that direction. So we're really looking forward to the season just because of all the transfers we have coming in, the variety of ways we can play. We can play big, we can play small, we can play shooters. So it should be an exciting season.
Awesome. And the non-conference schedule for you guys has a couple of challenging games in it, a couple of Big Ten opponents. Indiana, who are the women's NIT champions last year, and Ohio State, who's made the NCAA tournament 4 years in a row. What are you hoping your team gets out of those games, and how are you going to prepare them for those games?
Well, hopefully it'll prepare us for the Big East. Even though the Big Ten has different style of players, those will be good games for us to prep for and play and really prepare us for the grind of the Big East. As far as we go, we're just going to go in and hopefully be ourselves and make them adapt to us and make them make changes to us. And that's kind of been the niche the Big East has had. They've had a lot of success against Big Ten opponents just because of our variety of styles of play. So going into those games, I like our chances. Even though IU won the WNIT, they beat a Virginia Tech team that we beat. So those are all confidence builders for us.
Awesome. And you talk about those different styles of play that you guys can take and used to adapt to your opponents. And we all know about the stars of the team, Whitney Jennings, Tori Schickel. What are some players that maybe will take a step that people don't know as much about this year and that can kind of add to those styles that you can
Well,
use?
I think you have the 3 seniors with Tori, Whitney, and Michelle who have been the foundation, my first recruiting class that I brought in. And I think people tend to forget about Kristen Spoyer. She came off an injury last year, really started to build momentum towards the end of last year, has gotten stronger, had a great preseason. But then the transfers, you got Naida Casares from Spain, who transferred from Maine. She's a very versatile player. Catherine Strong, transferring from VCU. She's another 6'1", explosive, tough player. And then you got a lot of size with Ashante Thomas, who transferred in from Penn State. All 3 of those players will have a significant impact with what we do and can change the style of how we play just by different lineups.
Awesome. And to close it out, what kind of excites you most about this year's version of the Butler women's basketball team?
Our leadership. It's the first time where we've had players on the sidelines teaching the younger players, this is how we do things. This is how you run that play. This is what coach is asking of you. It's made a huge difference, and we've grown leaps and bounds from it. And you need that type of experience when you get into late January and early February when teams start getting tired to lead you in the direction they need to go.
All right, that's all the time we have. Thank you, Coach, so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. Drew, Colin, back to you guys.
Thanks, Jacob. That's all the time we have for this week. Tune in next week for an interview with Butler football coach Jeff Forrest.
This has been the Press Pass. We have our credentials, and now you have yours.